All right, this is my heart. I'm sharing this directly from my book, Trusting the Process. I'm calling it The Day My World Shook. And this is a true story. A kindergarten misunderstanding, big one. It was actually the very first day in a big, scary world of school. The kindergarten classroom buzzed with energy, filled with colorful posters, alphabet charts, and excited chatter of little voices. I sat on the soft, patterned carpet, my tiny fingers wrapped around a shiny red toy truck. Our teacher, a kind-faced woman with a soothing voice, gathered us around for story time. As she began to read, her words painted vivid pictures in our minds. I found my attention divided. The story was interesting, but my best friend, Sarah, sat so close, her pigtails bouncing as she leaned forward, engrossed me in the tale. So I wanted to play. The urge to share my excitement with Sarah was overwhelming. I couldn't control myself, so without thinking, I gently rolled my truck towards her, bumping it softly against her leg. It was an invitation, a silent plea for her to join my world of imagination, like we do in the recess, on the playground, and other times. Sarah turned, her eyes twinkling with amusement. "Ouch!" she said, but her voice was playful and giggly, barely contained behind her words. My heart soared. She understood. Yay, we were about to embark on a grand adventure together. But then, like a thunderclap on a sunny day, the teacher's voice cut through our moment. "Anissa, don't hurt my little Sarah," she said sternly. "Go to the principal's office." This is true. So imagine this little 5-year-old had no idea. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. Hurt Sarah? But I couldn't have the confusion swirled in my young mind as I just stood up, my legs shaky beneath me. "Go," she said. I didn't even know where the principal's office was, but somehow, driven by the weight of my perceived wrongdoing, I found my way there. The chair outside the office was huge, its leathery surface cool against my skin. I sat there. The enormity of what had happened crashed over me in waves. Tears began to fall. Quiet at first, then building to heavy sobs that shook my entire body. The world I thought I knew had shattered, replaced by a terrifying uncertainty. Time stretched endlessly as I waited, each tick of the clock on the wall a reminder of my isolation. Finally, after what felt like hours, the principal emerged. His face was serious, but not unkind, as he ushered me into his office. "Anissa," he said gently, "let's talk about keeping our hands to ourselves." As he spoke, explaining the importance of personal space and being careful with others, my young mind raced. I hadn't meant to hurt Sarah. I just wanted to play. The line between right and wrong, once so clear, now seemed blurry, so confusing. That day in kindergarten left a mark on my heart. A lesson learned perhaps too harshly, but also taught me the complexity of human interactions, the importance of clear communication, and how easily intentions can be misunderstood. As I left the principal's office, stepping back into the warm embrace of my classroom, I carried with me a new understanding. The world was bigger and more complicated than I ever imagined. It was only 2 short years later, in our 2nd grade, when we had social studies, and the teacher had us do an assignment on the colonial days. And everyone was given these roles, like the bakers, who the bakers were, and they'd have a responsibility to explain who the bakers were. The people that took care of the land, the farmers, people that took care of the sheep shearers, all these exciting roles, teachers. And then there were the students. And then there was this character called the bad student with the dunce hat. They used to dress students in a dunce hat. You know what? On that day, they chose me to be the person wearing a dunce hat and sitting outside the classroom. It broke my heart, shattered me. From that moment on, I knew I was different. I knew people were looking at me in a way that wasn't always good. I knew that I didn't see things the way everyone else saw them. I knew that even though I was smart, I always had my head in the books. My mind was in the cloud. I struggled a lot. I struggled a lot with perception, social anxiety, knowing what to do in certain situations where other people would have no problems, a lot of attention problems, processing issues. Cliques were always a thing, and I was never in them, always on the outside looking in. It was rough. But that's why I'm making these videos, to inspire others to never give up.